Good morning, my friends. Welcome, everybody. So, 10-ish, right? Down with the ishness. Come on, get down with the ishness. All right. I'm into it, dude. Ishness. Warming up, just warming up. Well, friends, I know I'm all excited because I've been talking to everybody, and then I look up and I realize what time it is, and I'm like, I should probably get started today. So, Betsy, Happy Kids Movement. Everybody say hello to Betsy. She is going to be with our children ages 6 and up today, and the building that they will be in is not this one, but the next one. It's the auditorium. And we've been trying to introduce you to Betsy, let you know where they're at, instead of being like, send your kids down the little alleyway and a random person will intercept them and bring them into a room. And so we're trying to not do that anymore. This is Betsy, and so if you are a kid, age 6 or up, or if you just want to go and hang out and you don't want to listen to us riff, they'll have some yoga, some mindfulness, talking about some mindful eating today in preparation of Thanksgiving. She was sharing that with me, and I'm like, I don't want that on my conscience before Thanksgiving. Tell me after, and I'll deal with the regret, you know? So anyways, have a wonderful time, and when we're finished, just feel free to drop in over there and redeem your child. So couple things. We're going to jump in really quick because we're going kind of late, but a couple things as we get started here today. First and foremost, it's sunny, which is wild. I mean, what happened to the great monsoon of 2025? It let me down. But yesterday was wild. Everybody chill yesterday. Have a good indoor day. I mean, we did it right. We read books. We listened to Bon Iver on vinyl. It was the right thing to do, you know? Had soup that we heated up from the night before. Some enchilada soup. It was incredible. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, the rain here, like, our relationship with rain in San Diego is wild because it's like everybody loves it. Everybody I talk to is like, oh, God, I love the rain. But then, like, if they have to, like, do anything, they hate it, and they hate the rain. And whenever I first moved here, because I moved here from Indiana almost 10 years ago, and Indiana has different weather than Southern California, if you're unaware. And I got a job at a motorcycle dealership in Vista selling motorcycles. And there was a guy that came in, and he, in the sales world, is what we call an up. So I upped him to see if he wanted to sign his life away on a motorcycle that day. And we talked about the bike or whatever, and then he left. And a couple days later, I called him for follow-up, as you do, right? I'm looking at all my friendly salespeople here. You follow up with them, but you don't use the word follow-up anymore because that's a dated thing. So I called him, and it was like a day that was like yesterday. It was like torrential downpour. And I'm like, hey, dude, you're looking at that bike. You want to maybe schedule time to come in today, take another look, whatever? He goes, have you seen it outside today? It's so bad. The weather's so... I'm not going anywhere today. And I'm like, coming from Indiana, I'm like, people, it'll be like 10 degrees and 3 feet of snow. And they're like, yeah, we'll go somewhere. Some sleet, you know, no worries. And this guy was like total wuss about getting out in the rain. And I was like, whatever, dude. I'm trying to do a deal. Come on. So anyways, he didn't come, and he did come a few days later and bought the bike, whatever. I tell you all that to tell you is I was in the shower the other day, and I was thinking about all the rain coming, and I was thinking about this Sunday, and I was thinking about my friend Ryan coming and how much freaking fun we're going to have and all of this. And I'm like, I don't know with the rain. Like, should we maybe postpone it? Like, and that story came back, and I'm like, I'm the wuss. I am now the San Diego wuss that's like, I don't know, I might get wet. So, I don't know, should we push it off? And I'm so glad we didn't. I tell you all that story to tell you that I'm glad we didn't, because it's a beautiful day now, and we're all here dropping in together. The only announcement I'm going to have, other than my really, like, C-class stand-up bit there, is... after the service today, we're going to have a chat about the retreat. So if you want to facilitate, you have something you want to contribute, you want to be involved with the retreat, you want to help organize, like you want to just like, I don't know, you're just interested in the retreat in general, you have no idea how or if you even want to be involved, if you want to, whatever you want to do. After this, we're going to meet and just kind of talk about it. Originally, we were going to go out and get some lunch and talk about it, and I thought, that's complicated, dude. So we're just going to stay here and chat for about 30 minutes. I'm going to pitch to you some ideas about what we have and then invite you to share some creative ideas, some ways that you might want to be involved for the retreat that's happening on the 4th weekend of February. So we're trying to be diligent, plan ahead. So some of you are like, I know, Thanksgiving's not even here, Christmas, you're already thinking about February. I know. So with that, we're going to go ahead and light our candles. Lindsay will come up and light them. And Lindsay will come up for our sound healing here in just a moment. And as we're just settling into this space, I know I'm kind of hyped up right now. But underneath all of that, I know myself, like many of you, you're coming from a busy week. I don't know what you're carrying into the space today. But our invitation is for you today is to just press pause on everything that's happening that isn't right now. And so in this moment, you might be having excessive thoughts, things coming in. How did I find myself to this weird place? What's going to happen next? Maybe you have had some relational tension this week with your partner. Maybe you're navigating parenthood. It's a unique season. Maybe you're in between careers. Maybe you've been doom scrolling too much. And the invitation today is to leave everything that isn't happening right now where it's at. It'll be there when you come back. And so as we light this candle, we symbolically allow this to be our light, and we raise it above, symbolically, that we set our mind above where Christ is seated. The inner anointing, the divine mind. We invite illumination from above into our life, into our inner world, our outer world. In a world that is full of chaos and movement and activity, we honor this space of stillness on the altar of our heart to the divine, to ourselves, that we may live in alignment so that we can be in service to this world. So that in our own unique ways, we can help participate in the ongoing healing of everyone, everything. So we ask for this light, Spirit of God. We even now see it in our mind's eye, resting on us. Invite your presence, Holy Spirit. Help us navigate delusion, ignorance, ego. We ask for a paradigm shift and perspective change in this moment that is tailored just to us, yet how it also influences the way we are all walking each other home. Thank you for this time of intention and meditation. So be it.
So either keeping your eyes closed or finding a soft, gentle gaze forward. We'll just use this time that we have together to connect with the body, with your breath. We'll start by taking in a few deep breaths, inhaling through the nose. And exhaling out. Inhaling through your nose. And exhaling out. Inhaling and exhaling. And on this next breath, if it feels good to hold your breath at the top, we'll do that together. So inhaling through your nose, holding at the top, and exhaling out, seeing if you can just extend the exhale a little while longer than your inhale. And doing that breath again, inhaling, holding at the top, and letting it all go. Wherever your mind is at right now, we'll just hold the space for acknowledging that. And also using this space as an invitation to drop a little bit deeper into the body, into the heart, into this vessel that we've all individually and uniquely have been given. It's not about deleting all of your thoughts, but more so just witnessing them. Knowing that you can always use your breath as a tool to come back into presence and awareness. And just subtly become aware of any sensations or tension that your body is holding on to, perhaps even signaling a message to you through that. Maybe your shoulders, your neck, maybe down into your chest or your belly, or your pelvis. And just simply by bringing your loving awareness to these spots and these spaces that tend to be more rigid or restricted, I invite you just to even bring some movement to allow that to kind of unstick. Maybe that's rolling your neck or rolling your shoulders back. Maybe moving your pelvis around. And just really listening and offering your body an opportunity to be heard and seen and felt. And as we do this, we are creating more and more space to allow us to be even more present. With everything going on and shifting within your internal world, and also the external world. It can create a lot of felt chaos within your body, within your nervous system. And creating this deeper space of presence within yourself is not easy. So even just offering yourself a little bit of compassion and awareness of that truth too. this vessel of yours, this body. Acknowledging that you are the only you that has ever existed and will ever exist. And in this temporary home that we each have, this space is a place that we are allowed to co-create with God. And if it feels aligned for you, even to just hold that as a prayer, invite God into your life deeper. Allow your body to be a point of expression. And giving it some time every day to detach from the distractions. Taking in a full, intentional, deep breath. Letting it go. Maybe placing a hand on your heart or a spot on your body that feels just really nourishing for you right now. Maybe allowing your body to stretch. We'll end with a collective breath, holding at the top and then exhaling. So breathing in, holding at the top, and letting it go. Taking a few moments here, whatever feels good for you. When you feel fully ready, you can begin fluttering your eyes open, coming back into full wakeful awareness. Again, allowing your body to stretch or move, whatever feels good. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lindsay. Definitely needed that. Appreciate that. Like usual, I feel like I allow myself to go into that space, and I'm like, oh yeah, I got to come back and do something. I'm supposed to do something now, you know? That's always a good feeling, though. Thank you so much. So today is special and fun because we're doing something a little bit different. And we've been trying to experiment with different things, I feel like, recently, like trying to just feel out different things, see what fits. And I wanted to take an opportunity to invite my friend Ryan Meeks to come and join me for a live conversation. Just come on up, Mama. Give Ryan a warm welcome. And then, whoops. And we'll just riff it together, podcast style, like we did all those years ago.
Yeah, on the beach.
We did a podcast episode. So I'll do a little introduction to make you feel nice and awkward right here for a sec. Does that work?
Okay, that's great. Yeah.
All right. So we've been experimenting with different things, and Ryan has been a friend for a little bit, but he is newly back to the area. Welcome back.
Dude, it's so good to be back.
Yes.
I love being here.
Yeah.
Not just here, but in San Diego, North County. Oh, my God.
Yeah. Grateful that you're back.
So good.
And I met Ryan in 2020. I was doing like a meditation circle with some friends at 6:30 in the morning every day. I know. And we were devoted.
We were bored. It was COVID.
Yeah, right.
It was COVID, dude.
Yeah, it was
What are we gonna
COVID,
do? Yeah.
but it was under the guise of becoming enlightened together.
For sure.
So I'm at this meditation thing and happening, whatever, and then Ryan and his fam drop in one day, and this is like the kind of woo-woo part of me, but I'm like, I don't know that person, but I feel like I know this person, and I'm like racking my mind, like, where do I know this guy? I just feel like a connection, and you guys would come periodically, and then I would kind of miss because 6:30 is 6:30.
Yep, I get it.
And we never really, I don't know, I never really connected with you there, but like in passing or whatever.
Yeah.
Then I found out more about your backstory, and we're going to talk a lot more about that today. But being a pastor's kid in the mega church world, in the charismatic world, and I'm like, of course, Ryan is some weird reflection of me also happening here. So I'm looking at you, and I'm like, I'm seeing me in your aura, before I even know you. Yeah. And then I was like, let's record a podcast, and you were kind enough to meet me where we would do the meditation, and we chat and stuff. And so some of this may be, a little bit of that to bring everybody up to speed for your background. But and then you guys moved to Bend because you were like, I don't want to talk to that guy anymore.
Yeah, that was enough. No, just to get some mountain time. We have 4 kids. 2 are in their mid-20s, and then my 2 teenage boys are here with my wife Michelle right there. Hi.
Yes.
And we wanted to do a snowboard town for a little while, so we did that for a little bit. Then we moved back to Encinitas.
Yeah,
we missed the beach, and then we moved back to Bend to do another snowboard year. And then we were like, all right, I think that's enough cold for the rest of our lives. And now we're back.
Your wanderlust is definitely like I'm jealous. Like I see you moving around. I'm like, Lindsay and I see that. We're like, we want to do that. And you guys are just making it happen.
We don't recommend it. You gotta love packing and unpacking. Yeah.
Well, I feel like you've made it look attractive. So
you're welcome, Instagram.
Yes,
yeah.
right.
Highlight
reels.
A lot less sexy than it looks.
Indeed. Well, you're back in town recently. You dropped into Oceanside and dealt with that bad Airbnb for a minute.
Yep. That was the smell of open sewer and all the rain leaking in the windows. We did not last. We had to move. So that was fun. So
now you're in Leucadia.
Yep.
And you're going to be having a spot in Cardiff in January.
Yeah, finally.
So
we'll
you're
be
here.
Ready to stop moving from Airbnb to Airbnb and settle in. Hopefully to graduate the teenagers eventually and call parenting. Done. Looking forward to that. Been raising kids for almost 30 years.
Damn, that's a long time, man.
Yeah.
So, I invited you here today, one, because I just like to talk to you, and I feel like other people would like to hear what you have to say as well.
Well, let's find out.
But for a specific reason, intentionally, because you have a book coming out, and that's coming out this Friday.
Yep.
And a couple weeks ago, when we were doing some planning for the end of the year, I'm like, this is like the perfect time. If Ryan comes and then his book's coming out and then everybody's going to love him and they're all going to buy his book at the end of the week and it's going to be great.
Okay.
I'm going to read. So today, just to give you some insight. First, I want to riff a little bit more just about your background and your history, because I think that'll make the excerpts make a little bit more sense.
For sure.
And then I've selected some excerpts from Ryan's book, because he was so kind to send me a PDF version of it, and I've been like scrolling through it on my phone. It's like the best thing, because I feel like I'm scrolling, but I'm just reading your book, and it's really great. And it's not doom. It's very insightful.
That's
and
good.
great.
I didn't want it to be doom.
Yeah, so it's like joy scrolling, not doom scrolling. Your book's really great, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
So to get people up to speed for your background, like who you are, what's like the skinny of like, like the PK life, the church life, what's some of the background for some of that?
Oh man, well yeah, pastor's kid. My parents were part of the like post-Jesus movement wave. So for me, and born in late 70s and then growing up in the early 80s, that sort of post-Jesus movement Pentecost thing is where I grew up.
Which is another thing. I'm come from vineyard background.
I know. And you weirdos.
I know.
But it became like one of the larger early megachurches in the 80s. So it wasn't just like I grew up in Pentecost, but it was like early megachurch world. We can go into any and all of that as what that formation was like as a kid. But it was mostly a positive experience for me. And then my wife and I, who met at 16 and 17, we got married underage at a dry, what do you call that thing after the wedding?
Reception.
Reception.
We did too. We got married at 20.
No bar. I'm so sorry. We were underage. So we planted a church in Seattle in 2004. Yeah. And we're there for 16 years. And that sort of became a mega church accidentally as well. And so we can dive into, I don't want to take up too much.
Dude, we're here to talk about you, man.
All right, let's do it.
So by all means, like my hope today is to just sort of hopefully tee you up to share more about your story and things, because it's really compelling. There's a lot of people here in this room that have come from a Christian background, and they're trying to make sense of where to place a lot of the stuff that they've grown up with. And then there's also a big door as well. I always joke that we have like the two doors of the space, and there's literally like people are trying to reconcile the inner Christian formation, but then also like there's a phenomenon that's kind of happening where people are having an interest in like the wisdom of Jesus and the spirituality of Jesus, and then they go to a church and they find the religion of Jesus, and they're like, F that, you know, and they go back to Google, and then they find us and show up at this unique space. Yeah. So that's kind of like the background, I think, for a lot of us here. And I think what you can speak to, just to give a little aim to this sort of like live podcast sort of deal, is like just your process from certainty to unknown, and that sort of the fear around that, and then as well as like where you've arrived today, I think is like really like it's been encouraging for me. And like many people here, it's probably like, like when you go through this sort of process, it's good to know that like people are in this boat too, and they're figuring it out, and there is life after whatever it is, that just happened. Yeah. So tell me a little bit more as we drop in a little bit for the initial like love around the church and things. I thought that was interesting in your book. Like you wrote like, I loved everything. I loved the stacking of the plastic chairs clanging, and like the dude that had like, I don't know, the Tic Tacs or whatever, like you just like loved all things around church culture and stuff. Tell me some about that early attraction towards that.
Yeah, I mean, I understand people having like a lot of baggage and pain coming from church experience, but for me, it was largely positive. Church gave me, as a little kid, you're on record mode, from at least 0 to 6. And, you could argue longer than that. But to me, it was like, all these people who take care of me and feed me and love me and protect me and are interested in my life and want to speak like affirming words over me, they all believe all these things. And so that immediately went into, you betcha. Like, I'm on board and I'm in, and what do we got to do? Because look at all this love, and look at all this safety, and then look at all this meaning. You know, church gave me a framework for understanding the world. It let me know that my life mattered and that I was connected to a larger story. And then it gave us, one of the things I think is really helpful in a Judeo-Christian sense is this idea of history moving in a direction, that there's a perfect purpose and an intent that we participate in, and as you mentioned earlier, the renewal of all things. And so there's meaning in that, and a sense of purpose. And so as I grew up in that tradition with really faithful, loving parents who, even though they held pretty conservative views on sexuality or, you know, even just fundamentalist evangelical theology, what I experienced growing up in my home was the wide welcome, the love, that God was for all people, and a God of second chances, and that redemption is possible always. And so those are all really positive messages. What was happening at the same time in that formation, because when you're a kid, you know, it's the beauty and the pain, the threat and the love that get sort of woven together. I was also internalizing, at least what came to me through evangelical theology, was that, you know, there's good news and there's bad news. And the good news is God loves you, but if you don't love him back, he's going to burn you forever. You know?
Yes.
And, you know,
I loved that part for a little while.
Yeah, me too. That's why I found Christian death metal in junior high, and it was just like,
See, there's such a similarity.
You
It's
know.
crazy. All right.
And to be fair, like that's really true. I loved Christian death metal. I literally, my kids laugh because Michelle hates it. Every day I get to the gym, it's the only time I listen to it. But as soon as I get to the gym, it's just like straight to Vengeance Rising. You know, it's just like, receive him! And, you know, Satan's Doom, I think was the song I was listening to the other day.
Heaven, yes. Hell, no. Heaven, yes.
But what I appreciated about Christian death metal that I didn't see reflected in my mega church formation was these guys were not trying to be like sensitive to spiritual seekers. They weren't afraid of the headline, which was a subtext of the religious programming that I was receiving, but it wasn't as direct. It was like this way of being like, you know, God loves you. And then there's like, you know, it's like those drug commercials. As soon as everyone's done like having a great picnic, they're like, we'll cause diarrhea and you're going to kill yourself. You know? That's how it started to feel for me as I was getting older, and I started to, you know, my critical reasoning skills were barely coming online. It was like, this fracture, this internal split within me was like, oh, it's just like, it's good news, but it's such bad news. And I tried to fix it, and I really, early on, wasn't in a free fall of doubt. I was like full of questions, and then very much committed to being faithful to the text, or my understanding of the text, or frankly, the understanding that I had been told to have about the text.
Word.
And so it was like, you know, decades of being like, okay, well, you know, maybe it's just my own arrogance, human arrogance bumping up against divine wisdom, and at some point I'm going to sort this out. And so throughout the book, I talk about, you know, what that was like, wrestling through that, and that what eventually happened as I slippery sloped my way out was actually that I was trying to stay in, you know. I was trying to stay faithful. I was trying to go deeper. I just wanted to, as I went deeper, I didn't want to have to lose myself or to pretend or fake it. And of course, that gets harder and harder as it's problematic to lose your faith when you're a megachurch pastor. To be on a stage and to be leading this thing, and it is working. And to inside be like, oh, it's all unraveling, you know, inside me. So
Yeah. I feel like even though not everybody has had the opportunity to have that experience, I feel like we all have that in some way. Like there's some show that we're all trying to keep going, and inside it's not what it is perceived to be.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, that's really the journey of any journey of transformation. It's like, and frankly, the journey of life is to sort of outgrow, you know, versions of yourself or roles, behaviors, different communities even that you've been a part of. And so in many ways, I use my own story as like a little bit more of a framework for what happens to us all.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to pay attention in your life is going to continue to knock on the door once you've finished hanging the final picture
Yeah.
We're done. And as David White, the poet, says something to the effect of, that's when the knock comes on the door and it's time to leave.
Mm.
And it's unavoidable. And
Yeah.
so whether you grew up in church or not, the sort of the archetypal mytho-poetic journey that is reflected in certainly the specific or the particular of my story, it's really just very much a human story. That can be a marriage, that can be a vocation, that can be becoming an empty nester or whatever. We're going to enter and exit seasons that we're going to, whoa, and as emotion came. Yeah, there's just no avoiding that, life is gonna ask you to let go all the time of people. I mean, one of my friends, the way he says it is like, everyone you love will leave you or you will leave them. That's just the truth of life. And that's not just people, but that's, life stages and moments, each sunset, every sunset. Why do we love the sunset? People are like, oh, I love the colors. I think it's more than that. It's like this subconscious awareness of death. Every sunset is like, it's done. That's over. Goodbye to this moment. Mm-hmm. And so, wow. Anyway.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What did it look like to be able to be okay with the goodbye of that moment? There was the whole build up to that. There's a whole season. There was very sunny for a long time, maybe some storms, you could say, when you were trying to figure things out.
Yeah.
And you held it together on the outside, but inside. And I love when we did our podcast years ago, when you pressed in, you were like, "Oh, I'm just going to read the Bible like from front to back," and you're like, "Oh, it just made it way worse."
That was my solution. Yeah, that was my
in.
solution. I was having so many issues. Well, it was basically like, when we started the church, my wife Michelle and I were doing everything. Like, we're loading the U-Haul that we parked on our grass front yard, and we'd drive it to the school at 6 o'clock in the morning, unpack it, set up the chairs, set up the band. I would lead the music, and then wipe my forehead and get back up and do the sermon, and then meet and greet everyone and tear it all down, and then we'd both go home and get migraines. And we loved it. We loved it. And all of a sudden, 2 years later, there's 3,000 people, and we're in magazines and Success Story and all this stuff. And all of a sudden, I have a staff and a 70,000 square foot warehouse that we renovated. And all of a sudden, I had time. I wasn't doing all the things. Mm-hmm. And all these things that I'd sort of put down for later, like all the doubts that I had in Bible college when I got labeled disruptive in my Old Testament class, constantly being like, that doesn't make any sense. There's no reason. No one would believe that unless you're a Christian. And I really thought when I went to these Bible classes that I was like, oh, thankfully, I'm paying to get the answers. Finally, I'm in the back door. I mean, like, a lot of us have been wondering. And it was just like, Ryan, come on, we don't have time for all your questions. I'm like, where do you go? We can't do this at church. We can't do. So eventually, I would say success failed me. We were killing it. And once there was quiet on a Tuesday morning, I could say like, well, what do I want to talk about? What's going on in, my relationship to God, and all the doubts coming up, and they got worse and worse. So I just like, oh, you know what I'll do? I'll read the Bible all the way through. No commentaries, nothing else but the holy word of God. And that made it way worse. And so after I finished that, I was like, I should just do it again. So I started over again. I was like, I must not
maybe
be
it'll
getting
take next time.
Genesis, Exodus. I just started, and then by the end of the second, I had this long Word document of all my issues. It was literally like Disturbing Things God Apparently Said was the name of the document.
A new book by Ryan Meeks.
Yeah. And the whole idea was like, oh, okay, I was trying to get to a place where I was like, I want to not have to check my brain at the door for faith. Faith can go beyond understanding, but I don't want it to have to clash with critical thought and what makes sense to my heart about what goodness and beauty means. Because if no matter what God says it's beautiful, then beauty loses its meaning. Then we have to start baptizing things like slavery and misogyny and genocide because God said it, and that was not working for me. So by the end of that, it was kind of like, it's over for me.
Yeah.
I have a real problem here. And so there was a few years where, I felt like I was living split.
Yeah.
One thing was going on in my heart and mind. I also didn't know if my partner, my wife, my best friend, my lover, my everything, who was a committed follower of Jesus, if I could tell her this and have a relationship with my 4 kids, would I lose her, all my friends? Like, this was not a rebellion as much as my critics, have wanted to say so. Like, I was like, oh my God, I have to save my faith.
Yeah.
And in some ways I was like laying in front of the sandcastle of my faith as the waves came through, and it was just like washing it away piece by piece. Like, no. So it was a lot to let go of. But eventually, once I realized, and this is true of all of us on some level, the journey, you get to a place where you look back and there's nothing to, cling to. It's gone. And to accept the reality of where I was at, and then begin to forward face and bring myself into alignment and begin telling the truth. First to my wife, and then to the community, and to be like, okay, how do we hang on to the beauty that was present? I mean, the church was a beautiful church. We did incredible, beautiful things in the world, and so much of what we were doing, I felt like was, a redemptive and beneficial presence in the world. It was just like I had to come with all this like defense of the Bible, which I couldn't defend anymore, and so it was rough.
Yeah. I was trying to Google you the other day to find the one like nail in the coffin news article or whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't find it, but you know what I did find?
I can guess.
I found you leading a Saddleback Rick Warren devotional.
Yes. Yes, I did do that.
And I was like, wow, dude, like it was just so funny to watch that. Lindsay overheard it, and she's like, is that Ryan? I'm like, yeah, but I mean, in 2014 Ryan, you know what I mean? But you're telling the story, and it feels like that was around the era that it's like, inside I'm crumbling, and on the outside I'm having like Rick Warming, like my friend Ryan Meeks is going to come up and give us the 40 days of whatever Daniel planning, whatever, I don't know.
Yep.
And you were just like, you kept the ship sailing. But then this moment in time happened let's do this. Let's read the excerpt, and then you riff from here. And again, I have an inside scoop because of some things. So I'm going to read 2 different excerpts from your book, and correct me. Well, your book tells me that this is the real breaking point, but there's 2 different parts in chapter 1 and then later on in chapter 21. But it says, cancer didn't end my world. It gave me permission to stop spinning it. No more sermons, no more meetings, no more theological debates in the church lobby, just silence and breath, and doctors and scans and naps and waiting rooms, and the space to finally tell the truth, not to everyone else, but to myself. The relief felt foreign, almost guilty, like I'd snuck out of my own life. The truth was, I didn't want to rebuild. Not the church, not the brand, not the belief system. I didn't want to fight to save something that had already died. At some point, you have to let go of the life you thought you were building and say yes to the one that's actually trying to happen. I wanted to rest. I wanted to be human again. This next one's just brief as well, that really dovetails. Cancer. Oh, thank God. Now I can finally quit this job and people will understand. I was that tired, that burnt out, that done. And that's where we started back in chapter 1. A soul running on fumes, partly devastated by the news, but also relieved. Cancer was the beginning of a tragedy and the end of a masquerade. Reminds me about, you were just talking about like the sunset, like this feels like that moment for you. Can you talk a little bit about the moment of cancer and the transition that brought?
Yeah, this is about 2 years after we had the holy shitstorm that had, excuse me, sorry.
No, you're fine.
We had brought upon ourselves. Once I had been open and honest with Michelle, and we had sort of journeyed through that together and realized we had many of the same issues. And the staff was like, let's do this. We had made a formal statement for LGBT equality and inclusivity, and we're in Time Magazine for...
That's what it was, Time Magazine.
Yeah. So once we were like, according to Time, I don't know, we were the largest evangelical church that had made a formal statement for LGBT inclusion. And this is before the Supreme Court ruling on gay marriage, so it's a different time, really. Mm-hmm. But our church was just like hemorrhaging. Like, you can't take a huge thing like this and turn it on a dime like that, where I'm like, hey, I really don't think we should believe the Old Testament's the Word of God, guys. Very dangerous. People are having problems with us.
We're going to Mars Hill.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's an inside joke.
That's a whole other. So it was just like 2 years of just like, cage matches about the Bible and hemorrhaging thousands of people and things like that. So in 2017, when I got the call, cancer, that was literally, I didn't tell anybody for years, but the first thought was, thank God I have cancer. Like, I can get out. Like, I felt so responsible to like keep this thing going for the people who were trying to dream with me about what it would look like to have a spiritual community without the dogma and the fear and the implausibility and the hatred and the marginalization of other peoples. So it was just a relief, to be like, people are going to understand if I can just tend to this. And so I stepped back and I let the church run without me. And I talk about in the book how it was just really important for me to face how I had tied my value or my lovability to being useful. I wasn't, wowing thousands of people by being hilarious and relevant and, or being spiritual or a leader or whatever. I was just sick and I was getting, frail and balding and nauseous, and it was so good for me to just face that to let myself be loved. I had to let myself be loved unconditionally, and the church had given me lots of reasons to be loved. Look how whatever successful or important or useful I can be. So that was really important for me, and it gave me the space to let go of the things I was trying to resuscitate, really. Yeah. I talk about in the book how resurrection is not the same as resuscitation. And resurrection is not bringing the old form back again. It's always a new, renewed thing. And I was just trying to resuscitate my faith for so long. I was finally, with cancer, facing the potential of dying. It was just like, I had no more energy left for that. And that was a gift. It was just like, let it die. What's left? Like, what still has heat here? And that's where that sort of just simple mantra, it's not very intelligent or complex, but just like, life is a gift, love is the point, that just kept whispering through me. And at first it seemed so cliche or simple, and I started to realize like it was the only thing I needed. Like, everything else can sort of come through this very simple funnel of what's ultimately gratitude and love. Life is a gift. I'm thankful to be here, like, thanks, to whatever reality or your understanding of God. And then love is the point. That's enough to sort of guide a sense of an ethical approach to the broader body of life, to one another, to self. So that was a real gift cancer gave me, for sure.
And that's, you eventually then, let the church be run by other folks, and you moved on.
Yeah, if you want to kill a mega church, I have a great recipe. Yeah. Start attacking the Bible from the stage, and then affirm the LGBT community in 2015, and then get cancer and leave for a year. That's just a church growth strategy right there, or shrinking strategy.
I'm glad this is being recorded. I'm going to have to revisit that one. Yeah. So I know we're a little after 11, but I want to hopefully stick around here for just a few moments if everybody has the space and grace for that, because I feel like this is where some real newness of who you are, really, not newness, like who you had been, that had been knocking at the door the whole time. You let that person in, and now you're getting acquainted with that real inner self that has been there. And you spoke a little bit about, let me see if I have it right here, but this excerpt about God and how that changed. I don't know if I have that one on here or not, but basically do I even call God anymore? Like what does that even look like? So I guess I would love to hear like what your relationship is like with the divine at this point. Mm-hmm. And then like to dovetail back to the mantra and the title of the book, like it seems like those things fit together very well. Your interpretation, experience, living of God with the title of the book and the big ending of your book too, which is beautiful. Yeah.
Thanks, man. Yeah. Yeah, I think really from beginning to end, the whole thing is about learning to embrace the only honest position, which is uncertainty. And that so much of the religion I inherited or came through and used to preach with conviction was about certainty and protecting certainty at all costs, and realizing that it wasn't like, oh, now I'm this deconstructed Christian that I wanted to, some people can make that their whole brand,
Totally.
And it's like, ugh, grow up, that's a necessary stage maybe to look at where you came from and evaluate what you want to bring forward, but we have to decide what we're walking toward.
Yeah.
And what I I'm suggesting in the book, which is, it's not the way, it's just kind of how I'm navigating, is that after the old maps are gone, there's still a way to live beautifully. And so who is God? What does God mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm learning that my understanding of what seems to work in my own life is, at each moment I have the opportunity to activate my highest potential by choosing love in each moment. And that seems to be enough. It seems I can trust that the heart, the deep self, or whatever you want to call that, Holy Spirit, that works for me. I don't care what the words are.
Right. Neither does
there's a knowing.
Divine.
Yeah, exactly. Can you imagine?
Right.
Isn't that what's ridiculous? Is we were given this idea of a God who's up there, just like this divine diva. It's you're not saying my name right.
Yeah.
It's there's no way we really think that. Do we? We just projected all of this insecurity inside of ourselves and our own hatred and our own violence on something we're calling God, and then want to hold other people to task with. And I think the adult journey is something a lot more like, God, we don't know, but God, life is it's such a gift. And it's beautiful, and it's tragic, and it's all of it. And if we can get to a place of just that really tender, open space, which apparently I'm feeling really close to right now, which I used to be so embarrassed about that, but I'm no longer. That's one part of my healing that I'm comfortable with, is that I do feel deeply. But that you don't need certainty to live a beautiful life, and you don't need certainty to express yourself in loving ways, which to me, I think, that's what my understanding of whatever Christ energy is. It's beautiful, and it's loving, and it's kind, and you don't need beliefs for it. You can do all of that without having really any belief structure other than, I want to become more loving. And I think that's really freeing, because we can exit all the debates and the arguments and and you can just say, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I love you. And it's just a lot easier to dodge that. And I think ultimately that's where I want to land in the book, is that, it's about virtues. It's about gratitude and love. It's about the imperatives: give love, right? Give thanks. And then the mantra, thank you, I love you. Whether we're saying that to reality or to whatever God is, thank you, I love you, I'm happy to be here. I don't know how this works. Thank you. and thank you, I love you. Thanks for being here and listening to this story from this weepy guy you don't know on the front. Thank you, I love you. To the sunset. Thank you, I love you. This is so beautiful. We human beings relate. That's how we engaged with reality. That's why people, it's weird to talk to a sunset. Oh, come on, you talk to your car.
Yeah.
You're stupid,
Yeah, right.
That's how we engage with reality, whether it's trees or whatever else. And so we can begin to see all of reality as kin, as part of the family of existence. we feel connected. And that's where meaning and purpose come from. We don't need a tight theology to feel like we're connected to meaning. Meaning is the felt sense of belonging that comes forward when we participate in the broader story of life and live in ways that deepen connection, responsibility, and awe. And that's all available outside belief.
Yeah. So good, dude. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I feel like I could just, this is definitely why we need to do more podcasting together. 'Cause the first one we did, it was like hour and a half or something. I think
just
Ryan's,
me and you laughing most.
I know.
I don't know if that was helpful to anyone.
And a lot of inside jokes and
Yeah,
things.
totally.
But and thank you for bringing the fullness of you and your heart. It's something that I have really focused on is just being fully you all the time. Like the full, unique expression that is you is totally good. And I think some of us, we deal with the different levels of like having to put on a front or be worthy or all the stuff that we do these things. And I feel like I just am grateful for you to be in this space and to open your heart up with all of us. And we're grateful for you. And I'm grateful you're back here in San Diego.
Thanks, man.
And I there's more things I want to talk to you about, but I'm like, okay, it's almost we've talked about this. I have a Capricorn moon, so I'm always like, where's time on everything? Shit. Okay, it's almost 11:15, so we're gonna shoot.
We're gonna people go.
So I'm like, all right, where are we at here? But I just wanted to thank you again for it, because I just, and for an encouragement for all of us. Like, I just feel like I saw myself in Ryan's story, and yes, we did have some similarities with our upbringing and background, but I feel like everyone, to some degree, relates to what's happening right now. Like, that's my picking up of the climate of the room is like, you can see yourself in this. And so any sort of like pastoral thing at the end here is like, allow that to show you something that's true. And you don't have to come to certainty or belief or changing or whatever. But if it's like confronting, if what Ryan's saying is confronting to your worldview, allow it. If it's feeling like it's, cool water on a hot day, be grateful for it, accept it. Like, wherever it's at, like allowing what happens in this space to help us each walk each other home is the dumb Ram Dass thing that I keep riffing off. But it's like, it's true. It's true. And I feel like you have helped us walk home a little bit deeper today, and I'm grateful for that, my friend.
Thanks.
So if you don't mind to join me in standing, I won't put you on to pray for us. Unless you want to, dog. I mean, it's up to you. But just invite you to just a posture of openness, which is the prayer, for just a moment as we close. And that this moment, this life is a gift. And Ryan, thank you for that mantra. And for those of us that feel like you are called to, I invite you to hold out your hand like you're receiving a gift, because this moment is a gift. It will never happen again, and it's never happened before. And just the posture in our body of receiving the presence, the fullness, the abundance of this moment in all the ways that it has touched our hearts, we just say, thank you, Great Spirit. Thank you to the divine for bringing us all into this space with openness, with intention, and we receive this presence. May we allow it to saturate our life, and that we live and move and have our being in a way that is light, that is loving, that's compassionate, first for ourselves and then for those around us. We thank you, God, for all the ways that you lead us, guide us into peace and presence. Be with us as we move from this space. So be it. Amen. Thank you, Ryan, so much. So if you want to stick around and rap about the retreat, we'll get that started in a minute. But if you made awkward eye contact with somebody and you're like, I don't know, that's your sign. There's the person to say hello to. Say hello to someone. Say hello to Ryan. And we will see you. 3 weeks. Sorry. The first is in 3 weeks. So see you in 3 weeks back here for Sunday service. Have a wonderful day.